So a few customers have touched base with me really about getting an understanding of how these three things here, the Dataverse, Dynamics and PowerApps, work and how they could work together and if that can be done. So the problem really is that everyone's heard about the Dataverse and the PowerApps and low code and Dynamics, and they're not really sure where to start and how they could hook into each other, and you know, are they very separate things or do they work together? So this presentation and short video really sort of hopefully will help sort of put some context around how each of them could be used, their strengths and weaknesses. So at the very base of all this, it's the Dataverse. So this really is where the hub of all your information sits, your data, but you can also do lots of customizations and configurations here. So you can create tables, views and forms, business processes and all that sort of thing to put rules around your data so it stays sort of safe and consistent. It also then allows you to link off the data that sits there into Dynamics or PowerApps or the rest of the Power Platform. So it's really the hub of how it all works. Now, what we need next really is kind of a scenario to sort of understand how that actually works in the real world. So the scenario is we've got Housing Association A, they want to complete asset checks, so on the boiler or smoke alarms or something like that. They want non-technical staff to go out and do this, so you don't want to pay for surveyors or a big surveying company to go and do this for you. And then so it needs to be quite short, sweet and to the point so you can get the information you need. The results would then need to go somewhere central so you can then do the appropriate planning and make sure you're compliant with everything you've got. So I'll stop now and we'll go off to a short video I've put together, really demonstrates how the three items can work together to achieve this. So in this video I'm going to show you how the Dataverse, Dynamics and PowerApps can be used together to actually complement each other rather than having to make the choice of what one to use. There's obviously benefits of doing this when it comes to license costs, but you'll need to decide the best way forward for your particular business need. So we're looking at the moment at the property asset, which is a custom entity I've just created here. It includes different columns, so these in old money would have been fields, and essentially this is where we hold all the key information about the asset. We can put different rules around these fields. You know, we can see here they've got certain data types, but you can also put additional business rules around that. So if there's certain, for example, asset cost has to be populated, or if the asset type equals a certain type, say for example a boiler, the cost automatically populates as 6,000 for example. So this keeps your data clean, keeps it consistent. So we're not putting email addresses in text fields and we're not putting text in currency fields. There's lots of good stuff you can do there. You can also then look at the data that's in your system. You can import it, export and do sort of editing as well. So this is just within the Dataverse. Now the great thing is, if I jump into Dynamics and go off and look at my properties, we've got our property assets here. So we can see this information is also surfaced within Dynamics. So this is the property module within Dynamics. And from here you can see all the same sort of information, slightly different layout. So from a user perspective they could be sitting in Dynamics but looking at the same data. Now if we jump over into the Power App, again this is kind of a standard very basic Power App just to kind of get the idea across. But what we can do here, for example, if we go to 1 High Street Eastleigh and we go next, what we're able to do here is see the two different items that they've got within the property at the moment, and then we can go off and we can either make changes. We can add, for example, the model number, any location, and just add any missing data here if we wanted to. And we hit save and that asset, the boiler, has been updated. And the great thing is that information then, if we go back here, so we're at 1 High Street within Dynamics this time, if we go into the boiler we can see that the serial number now has come across along with the model number. So we have that detail there, but it also then appears within the Dataverse. So this means it really does open it up to the rest of the Power Platform. So again, if we want to go off and add a brand new asset, and we're sitting in one high street, and there's an asset type of smoke alarm, we've got an installation date, and we OK that, and that's all we've got at this point, and then we can save. You can see here we can attach a file and do all that lovely stuff if we need to, but as a user that's all we've got. So we've gone out, we've done our property inspection, and just said this is the boiler, this is the detail. Again, that information, save and close here, will come through into Dynamics, but as you can see there's some missing data there. So what we can do is open that up in Dynamics and actually go through and add the information that's missing. So there might be stuff that people on site don't know, or it might be a case that it just needs to be done from Dynamics itself. So we can say this cost us £90 for that smoke alarm. We can add where it is. We don't know the serial number, model number, so model Y. The warranty expires 23, and it's going to be due for a service at that time as well, so we'll put that there. Replacement date, we know for example this lasts 5 years, so we put that there, and we save and close that. Again, this data will then surface if we give this a refresh. We've then got the information here, so we can see we've got our 2 smoke alarms easily. The great thing though is you can then surface information. So from the Dataverse you can push and pull that data into Power BI for example, or if you just want to sit in Dynamics you can then just create a little dashboard. So again, this is all Microsoft Dynamics functionality, but it gives you an idea then of how much money for example you're spending on boilers, how much you spent on fire alarms and showers and smoke alarms. You can see here how many checks have been done, and you can see when things need to be replaced. You've got then a date time frame when things need to be changed. Here, any replacements that are due next year, so this could be anything. But what that enables you to do is actually do the proper planning and budgeting rather than sort of finger in the air type scenario. So if we go off and have a look at the actual data here, we can view our records. We might want to drill down into these 2 that are due in February, and we can see here there's 2 fire alarms at Church Lane that need to be replaced.